All right, so it looks like we're getting started. Entrepreneurialist here. Today is Sunday, September 29th, I believe. We're also looking at day 11 of Entrepreneurialism 365. So I told you guys we were going to be recording an interview with Bella Body Soul CBD company. This is Cody. He is 24 years old. He's got his last year of college and he started this business. So today we're going to be hearing his story and how he went about it. So if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself before we get started here.
Hey guys, so I am Cody. I'm 24 years old. So that may be around, is that kind of like the demographic of your audience?
Yeah, I think we're pushing for about that demographic, somewhere around there. I'm looking anywhere from, to be honest, anywhere from 18 to about maybe 25-ish, because that's when people start to kind of get the idea of jumping into this.
Yep, that's exactly kind of like right around where I fell into kind of wanting to start my own business. Like I had always had thoughts of it kind of like when I was 8 years old. I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to just have my own business or something like that? But I mean, very like immature ideas. But then it started popping back up again when I left high school, is when I started thinking more about like doing my own business. Because I had met somebody like an older mentor that I became like a family friend, and they had owned their own business, and I started working there when I was in 8th grade. So I got to see kind of like behind the scenes of what it was like to run a business, and I was kind of like, yeah, she's like a really smart woman, but she still is kind of ordinary. So I was like, it's not like, I don't know. I always used to think like all these big business people were just like superhuman and like with no flaws or anything. But I got to kind of see like somebody that runs a business with like the armor down.
Gotcha.
So yeah. And then so I
That's...
graduated. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So and then I like turned 18 and I started to get the thoughts popping in my head again, like, hey, I think I'd like to run something. And so I decided on a bounce house business, and I made a ton of mistakes. Kind of like your channel concept is to, just jump in and get started. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. Well, for the bounce house business, I went out and I had these ideas like, okay, so I bought all this advertising to be able to get the business going. I started building a website, but I wasn't prepared mentally for the demands it took to be an entrepreneur because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely.
So I ended up, and then I went and I bought a truck because I knew I would need a truck to put the bounce house in the back. And it was just like, I ended up not even really being able to do the business because I didn't know you had to have insurance for it. You didn't know you have to do this, to do that, to do this. So that business was a major failure, and I ended up spending a ton of money up front. So that's the first thing if I were to recommend anything, is do not spend too much money up front. And it really kind of broke my heart a little bit because I got to see like the real world. Like I was 18, I was fresh, and I got my ass handed to me, to be honest. But now I've had some time to kind of grow as a person, and I started something else that was volunteer rather than having me to spend a lot of money. I started like a robotics team, and I had a lot of fun with that. And I learned kind of what it takes to kind of like lead and manage other people, and what it takes to like kind of learn like a trade on your own without somebody telling you the roadmap. Because when you're like a coach at like a school or something like that, you have to kind of develop your own program. There's no one there like in school where you're like, oh, memorize A, B, and C, do
Yeah.
this. I kind of had to do my own path. And I just started getting smart. I was like, if I want to start my own business by the time I'm getting out of school, then I need to learn some finances, and I need to understand like markets and advertising. So I started just getting smart, and I just here and there over the course of like 2 years or so, I just started thinking about it. And then I saw an opportunity, and that opportunity was with CBD. And this was last November, and my friend has always had like really bad anxiety, and she'll have like panic attacks or whatnot. And somebody recommended it to her. One of our friends recommended to her to go ahead and try some CBD. And I was just like, CBD, what? is it some snake oil or something like that? I was like, come
Yeah.
on, dude, are you kidding me? But she tried it, and it just kind of like reduced her generalized anxiety. And so I was just kind of like, okay. And then about a month or two later, she started having some pain relief effects too, because she had a little bit of sciatica. So it started aiding her. And so I was like, okay, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan, and I heard him talking about CBD. So I started seeing it pop up more and more and more over this time, which makes sense because actually this is right now when CBD started to kind of get legal. It got legalized by an agricultural bill back in December or late last year, like November.
Yeah, yeah, it was later in the year.
Yeah. So I started doing a lot of research into it, and I was like, okay, well, this is actually kind of surprising me. Like, this is really cool. Like, the opportunity just kind of came to me, and I was like, you know what? I think I would really like, this is what I would like to do, because I like helping other people, and I saw what it could do for my friend. And I've always had this itch I wanted to scratch of just being an entrepreneur. So I was like, okay, but Cody, you're 23 this time, you got to be smarter. You can't be going out and doing all these stupid, wild, crazy ideas and just spending all your money. Spending your money is not starting a business. Sitting down at your computer when it's Sunday afternoon and you want to kind of, relax, that's doing your business. You're putting the work in to kind of like build up the infrastructure.
Definitely.
So in late December, I bought another domain, bellabodysoul.com, and I started getting to work on it. And I started building the website. At first, it didn't look too great. I was like, oof, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, it was just like, it was like all over the place. And I'm still not exactly sure how it looks now. I like the way it looks now. I started looking around at other businesses and mimicking them. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I need to have my products on the front page. And it needs to say, have these two buttons here. I was like, this is what everybody's doing. And I'm learning from people in my field on my own. Like, I want everybody out there to understand, like, there's no roadmap. You just kind of like got to try things out and do what's going to work for you.
exactly. Yes.
So I started that website in December, and then I kind of let it go on ice for a few months. I was like, okay, I'm not really sure where to go from here, but it kept like eking in my mind. So about April, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I started like, doing this thing. I'm stressed out. I'm like, man, I'm getting too old. If I'm going to take a shot at being an entrepreneur, you know what I mean? Like, you're coming out of school, you're going to get a career. Do it now, you know? The time is now, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just the time is now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So I just started hitting the pavement and finding out, like, how can I get a CBD product? How can I get that?
Now, when you're
And
going through all of this, did you have anybody helping you? Did you, was there a mom or a dad or a brother or cousin? Was there someone that was actually like with you on this, or were you running all this solo?
I got to tell you, like, um, my friend L, who I bring up on my channel a few times, I brought up on my channel a few times, is she's the one that had the anxiety. So we kind of started a little bit together, but like at the beginning, I was like the real driver because I just don't think there's a lot of people that understand. Like, you're gonna go through and build a website and all that. Like, she's a really good idea person, but the tech was a hard on her. So for me, I had to set everything up at the beginning. So it kind of felt like a lot of it was on me. And yeah, it just felt kind of like I've watched some YouTube entrepreneurs, like kind of like the Gary V, which are good for some confidence,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
just go ahead, get started. And I just decided, it's time to just go ahead and do it. So I just went ahead and did it. And I was
Yeah.
just doing it on my own. They were just like, most people are going to quit after the first time, or in 40, like barely anybody's going to actually try. Like,
Yes.
yet alone, like most people that fail, like you failed before you even got started because you just kind of psyched yourself out is kind of what I feel like that's what I did to myself when I was 18. I started that bounce house business, and I
So
dumped all this money into it. Yeah, and then I was just like, I wasn't prepared for the realities of a business, you know. So
yeah,
I've had to grow to love the process, and kind of that's where I'm at.
gotcha. So the loving the process part, that's kind of key because that's a lot of the audience that I shoot for is going to be fans, more than likely going to be fans of Gary Vee in some way, and I'm pretty sure they've heard him say more than once that you got to love the process. So taking it back to your first business, 18 years old, where did you have the money to start this? You obviously had to buy these bounce houses, or did you borrow them? And then the money for the truck, how did that get started? Tell us a little more about that business. And then tell us where you started to see the decline and when
Very,
ultimately you decided that that was it. That was the time to cut it.
I am so embarrassed about this, but I mean, um, you know, um, just suburbanite kid with not a lot of real world experience, and anybody can go and sign up for a car loan. You know what I mean? Just
Gotcha.
so dumb. I'm just like, I can't believe I talk all this. I in my life I'm like, hey guys, you got to make smart decisions, and then like I just see myself, I'm just like, oh, that hurts so bad. I know that, like, what not the thing that scares me most is not like I made a bad decision in the past, like whatever, I'm not going to do it again, or am I? Like, how do I know, like, am I being smart? Like, I just try to just take a breath before I make decisions now, because you don't need, if you're going to think about spending, think before you spend a bunch of money, think about it, and start putting in the other parts of the business first, where you have to work at it, but it doesn't cost a lot of money, but they're essential components of the business. Start with those things first to see if you're really into it and if you're ready.
Gotcha. So you took out a loan for the vehicle.
Yeah.
I would assume it was loans that maybe helped you get these bounce houses going. What did you do with them in the end? I mean, do you still got them stored
Oh no,
away? Just sell them off?
no, I didn't. I ended up not buying the bounce house because like when I was 18, here's the one thing I guess I am proud of. I had the idea, and within 3 days I had a truck. Like, at least I did it. At least I went for it. I was like, I'm
You
good.
did.
I'm going for it. Within 7 days, I was like, oh man, um, insurance for the bounce houses in case somebody falls and breaks their neck or something. Some fringe scenarios, insurance in case it rips and all this, plus the actual bounce house, manufacturing. The other businesses in the area are offering face painting, all this extra X, Y, and Z extra stuff. So I was done by 7 days. I was out of the bounce house business
You
with no
realized it
bounce
was a lot
with
tougher.
no bounce house
Wow.
with a truck. But
Well, you got a truck out
uh,
of it.
I got debt. I actually did. Last month was the last month I had to pay on that truck. So that thing is behind me, and it's still good. And I take it camping. You know, I made lemonade at least with it. And
Yes, you didn't just take those lemons and, tuck them away and just sulk on the decision. You actually, made something out
and
of
we're
it. So
talking
at least
about a
the first
car
time in that,
too.
man.
Talking about lemons.
Oh
uh,
man. Well, so the bounce house didn't go through. You decided 7 days afterwards that you weren't going to do it just because a lot of people don't see that there's a lot of struggle behind choosing to start a business in that manner. There's a lot of insurance stuff that you got to worry about and the cost of manufacturing and all that. And, competition is going to be tough, especially if your area just happens to have a lot of, party scene. There's a lot of families that like to do stuff like that. So it would have been tough. That makes a lot of sense. And so you decided it was time to pull the plug. So how long did it take for that when that ended before you started going into the CBD, the thought of CBD, not the actual start, just the thought of you wanting to start another business? And because you mentioned that you joined the robotics team. So
yeah.
was there any time in there that you decided you wanted to start a business, or was it just kind of like one day you just happened to see it and were like, I'm just going to do it?
Well, I'm actually, things are coming back to me as we're talking about it. Like, I should have also mentioned, I kind of got into real estate for a while.
Okay.
Um, this time I didn't spend any money on it, so I was proud of that. I'm proud I didn't spend any money up front. but I did put in the work up front to kind of start getting something started. But this time, do you want me? Should I say the problem I did first, or tell the problem after I describe the situation? Like I'm just learning from my mistakes.
Let's describe the situation, and then we can go with the error, and
Okay.
then this way we can round off that story.
Okay, so I went and I purchased a domain name to start a website for selling real estate because I wanted to become a wholesaler because I had heard about wholesaling, which is like you find people that are willing to sell their house for less money, and then you're like the middleman between somebody that's going to actually repair the house and be like a house flipper, or they're going to rent it out or something. So I just kind of like sell them the contract, like, hey, I have this house under contract. Here, do you want it? And they give me like $10,000. I sell to them for $10,000 more or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to a couple seminars with the people that want to sell you like a $20,000 education. At least I had the thought in my mind, like, no, not going to do that.
We're going to do that one.
No. And then I found meetup.com. That's still a great place to go, actually, for anything you want to meet up about with people in your community or anywhere. And it was a real estate group at my local Chevy's. And I went there. And I just I started talking to people, and I made good friends with a couple of them. And then I started doing those meetups. I probably went to 5 meetups for that. And I went on the biggerpockets.com. That's a big real estate site. And I started posting 3 posts a day. And I made like a profile. It's still on there. I abandoned it because the reason I got out of the wholesaling business, I think it's oversaturated. Again, I didn't pick a good market this time. Like there's tons of people that want to make money wholesaling real estate. There's like seminars on it. That's kind of how I found it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so that's not going to work. That's oversaturated. So that's kind of why I just put it down. But I still have like 500 posts on biggerpockets.com, and I got really involved into it. But I didn't make the mistake of going out and buying the things first. Like I put in the infrastructure of a business that doesn't cost money, but it does take the work, and it's like the daily grind that you're going to be on if you're going to be starting a business. So it was a good experience, even though I put a lot of time into it and I didn't get money out of it. It was definitely a good experience. And I think that's something that a starting entrepreneur really needs to take the mindset of, this isn't my only venture. Like, it's okay if things don't work out. The thing is, the question you have to ask yourself is, even if I fail, am I going to get something out of this situation? Am I going to learn something that's going to benefit me in the future so that it can help me make better and more informed decisions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The retail business, that was I don't know how much of a hit it is now, but I do remember when a lot of those videos were going around. I myself got into it. I spent days just watching those hour-long videos of how-tos and where you start, and I was taking notes like crazy and understanding how you go and you basically find someone, like you said, who's trying to sell their home, and you tell them you're willing to take the home. You get a contract, a small contract, you have them sign it, you give them a little cash, and then you turn around and you find a buyer, an investor, and you sell it to them for 10,000 over the cost they're asking, or 20,000, whatever you're trying to make. And in the end, you're basically just connecting the dots, and you walk away with your own fee for actually connecting those dots. And yeah, those videos were going around for a while. They actually caught a lot of people. I myself was one of them. Bigger Pockets was a site that I did join as well. I don't remember posting as much, but I was constantly
I'm still on there.
stuff.
Cody is there.
I still
hey!
get notifications. I still get notifications from YouTube that there's a new video out, because they do put up videos daily. So yeah, I mean, I'm still connected to it in some way, just because real estate is an interest as well. I personally wouldn't get into it until I had the money to actually put down on it.
Yeah, because it's
but
illegal.
yeah,
situation.
Yeah, it's very, that's where I kind of stepped back, was starting to see the actual legal aspects of it kind of scared me out of it, so I talked myself out of it as well. But what an interesting find there.
Well, I also had my printed out little dinky wholesale contract sheet. I went around to it's actually coming back to me now. So on Bigger Pockets, I met somebody and he was buying a house and he wanted me to find a buyer for him. So I was like, okay, let me come by. I looked at the house and he was like fixing it up and everything. I was taking pictures of every part of the house to see if I wanted to put a contract on this thing. He was fixing everything up. So, I mean, I took 100 pictures of the house and I was really analyzing it and going into it, but decided to pass on it. And then happened with another guy. And then I had the idea to put up, they're called bandit signs. I'm sure you might remember watching me a video. So I actually have a couple in the trunk of my car right now too.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess I'll pull them out. I don't know. Like you said, you like bring your other friend brought his little thing out here. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I have
yeah,
a bandit sign, and I ordered. I did put about $200 on these. I figured that for me and my financial situation, that was fine. But I'm not spending $6,000 on a truck. And I already put up like hundreds of posts on biggerpockets.com, put in a lot of time. So I was like, okay, I will allow myself the permission to spend $200 on this stupid, wacky idea that I have again. So I looked up like how to design a good sign, and I just started zip tying them to stop signs, road signs, anywhere. Like I would be up at 12 a.m. and I'd be like, hey sister, can you drive me around while I jump out of cars avoiding police so I can put up signs? Not the best business model, right? But I did it.
That's
But
guerrilla marketing at its finest.
man, crazy. That's still fun. I had my mom driving me around putting up these signs. So I mean, I got started, and I still have a couple in the back.
You've had this mindset since you were 18, then you knew you wanted to start some sort of business and you've kept interest in it. So we
I wouldn't
round
say
off to
mindset. I'll say desire, because mindset requires thought, which I haven't done a very good job of in the past.
well, it's all a learning process. That's all part of it. I mentioned before that this channel is a whole new learning process for me. So I think just getting into it, the idea that you had something, even with it being a desire, I think subconsciously there was some sort of conscious thinking there that you wanted to be a businessman of some sort. So 18, you had a bounce house business, you did your robotics team, you actually jumped into real estate, or tried to jump into real estate, you looked into it and then backed out of that. So coming around to starting a CBD business, where were you when you thought of all this? What was the situation like? What was the financial situation like? And what did you actually do to get started? You said you had a friend that had some issues with anxiety, and then she was using it for pain as well because she noticed the actual benefits of it. And so, did you go to a store, grab one, help her out, walk with her, talk with her, and just kind of try it out? Did you try it yourself? Did you just start contacting manufacturers and trying to figure it all out? Like, what was the step-by-step process there in starting your own CBD business?
All right. I guess let's start it from the start chronologically. So yeah, I had the friend with anxiety in about November, which coincidentally was when the Farm Bill also was going out, which made
Yeah.
CBD products with less than 0.03% THC coming from less than 0.3 THC hemp plants. Kind of it passed. So it basically made CBD products into something kind of like akin to corn. You know what I mean? Just like an agricultural product, rather than being under the jurisdiction of the Justice Department.
Gotcha.
So those two things kind of intersected at the same time. And I didn't even know about the Farm Bill till I really started hitting the pavement hard in April. And I was just kind of like, oh, wow, look at that dumb luck timing, like this is a good time, I think, to get into the business, and then it was a product that really helped my friend, and I saw it right in front of me. And I had always heard like, okay, because the real estate market, I didn't pick the right market for me to go into, at least in this stage of my life. I didn't have big cash. So I was like, scratch my own itch, right? So I went ahead and I was like, okay, I really want to do it right this time. And I really started planning and spending a lot more time on planning. And then also for things like videos like this doesn't require as much planning. It's just about getting started and just doing it and getting over the fear. So I looked up how can I, ordinary person, get a CBD product that I can sell, and also what is a high quality CBD product? And then that's like the first thing that came up in Google. I was like, okay, so there's isolates, there's broad spectrum, there's full spectrum products, there's all these different types of CBD products. So I started looking into the strengths and weaknesses of each, because I didn't want to make a purchase before I was informed again. Like, I don't want to get burnt on another bounce house.
Definitely.
So I looked it up and I was like, okay, um, so isolate, look, doesn't have all the other parts of the plant. Full spectrum has some THC in it. And then I was like, okay, broad spectrum, which has all the other parts of the hemp plant that you really need to get a good effect, called the entourage effect in the CBD world. You guys are more entrepreneurs, maybe don't know necessarily about the CBD world part of it. But I was like, okay, I want to go with broad spectrum CBD. And I just found a supplier in person to manufacture my product. And then I got a label designed with my logo from my website. And I go in ahead and I printed out the label, made sure it was like up to snuff and looked like, I had a lot of help from the manufacturer, because they do that. They really help you make things out to be how you want them to be. But designed the logo and got it on my bottle. And when I had it in my hands, I kind of fell in love. I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff is great. And before I bought the product though, before I bought it, I requested samples to make sure, it's a product I wanted. So they made me pay about $100 for it or whatever, but I got some samples and I had Elle try it, and she was like, yep, it's working. It's giving me everything I need. And then it's kind of funny. I think at one point we experimented with her like a guinea pig. So she stopped taking her daily dose of CBD. She stopped taking the daily dose so that we could like force a panic attack on her, and we could like try this brand, like this type with the CBD, like
Oh,
whoa, like
wow.
evil genius. I don't know. So we ran like our little experiment, and it worked. It worked for her. So we went ahead and we got those babies. We bought the product, and we had it in time for we wanted to start selling them at like fairs to kind of get started. And I guess, I don't know, I just thought like maybe an in-person thing would be giving me more credibility or something. So I signed up for a fair, and the product came in, and we're at this fair, and it's the worst fair I've ever been to. Like, there's nobody there at this fair, and I put all this time into like designing the booth and bringing it up. You can actually see it online on our Instagram page still at Bella Body Soul CBD. Like, if you scroll down far enough, it's this picture of us at this fair booth. Like, I put a lot of work into it. I bought like the signs in the back. I bought like 2 big signs, tablecloths, and then nobody's showing up to my booth. I have my little laptop out with Dr. Oz playing, talking about CBD, like, welcome to the health benefits, like, so I'm
You went
super
all out
proud
for
of this
that.
booth. Yeah. I'm just super proud of it. I'm like, yeah. And then like nobody's there the weekend because the fair had some problems. It wasn't like our booth problem. Like, we're having a decent amount of luck, but just it's just the fair was not very busy. So I might run like 1 or 2 fairs next year, but they'd have to be highly populated fairs that I know they're going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the stories we've had about how to kind of get the product.
So you don't have a brick and mortar store. Your online, your business is mostly based online.
Yes. So that's where we've seen the most success, and that's where I've wanted to take this engine. I've wanted to take this car from the beginning, is online, because I want to sell a product first off, I want to sell a product because it doesn't require my labor and time. And to me, that was kind of like one of the major parts of entrepreneurship that I was like, that's the point of doing it, is so that I can have more freedom with my time. And online, I can also, I could be, if I had the money, let's say my business does blow up and I have a bunch of disposable income to go and travel the world with, you know, I could be in Paris doing the same video. So having the online really adds another element, another dimension of versatility for your lifestyle. That's something I really appreciate, or would love to appreciate.
So, do you use the CBD products yourself, or just is it just Elle that's using them?
That's funny. We filmed a video a couple nights ago. In fact, dang, we're gonna have to post it because it's for an October challenge. But I don't use. Actually, I'll bring it up now. The October challenge. So
1 second. Give me
I
1 second.
don't
I'm
use.
sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. So I don't use CBD myself because I don't personally have too much anxiety or too much like pain issues. I run and I work out a lot, so occasionally I will use some CBD products and it does help. You know, I experience the benefits. But to me, it's more of a medicinal product just for when you need it, or if you have like more of an anxiety or panic attack disorder, then you would take it on a regular basis. So that's my October challenge. Is I'm actually, so I do take it, but I don't take it on a daily dose like, you know, you would recommend for somebody that has, you know, maybe arthritis or joint issues or panic attack disorders that come up frequently. Like for Elle, for example, like she uses them daily. So
Okay.
my October challenge is that for every day in October, I'm going to post myself and, you know, we actually were thinking about getting the dog into it. I'm going to, with my multivitamin, I'm going to take one of our soft gels with it every single day. And we're going to observe kind of like how someone like me who's just, I don't know, like neurotypical or just, you know, just kind of ordinary with you know, without too many ailments or whatnot, how does it affect me? What benefits do I get from it? Like, because I do use it, but only typically in the mornings before I go to work, which sometimes, you know, when I have to go to work just kind of stresses me out because, you know, I have some responsibility and just kind of like brings me back to the level. Like I'll wake up maybe 2 hours before I'm supposed to. And that's when I'll take the CBD because it'll help my mind go to rest. Because when you wake up early and you got a lot of stuff to do for the day, it's a downward spiral because you're thinking about, oh man, I need to sleep or else I'm not going to be able to prepare for the day. And then you're stressed out about the day. Now you're stressed about not being able to sleep. So it's a downward spiral. It makes it all worse. So I take it to CBD for those scenarios and it does help me get back to sleep. But I don't take it on a daily basis. I take it on as needed. So that's kind of our October challenge I'll be posting on our Instagram page is I'm going to be taking one product a day of 10 milligram CBD soft gel along with my multivitamins.
That's actually pretty cool because what you're doing is you're bringing an authentic experiment of sorts to the end consumer, because someone who wants to try this out, I mean, it's easy to just show them charts from a doctor who knows where, you know, saying that this is good for
There's
you
not a lot
this
of
way
research.
or that way. Well, whatever research is available, I mean, we're used to getting just a paper with a chart that shows you what's what and this is what it does and what it doesn't do and the side effects. But what you're giving your end consumer is a more authentic, a more in-depth experiment on yourself for someone who doesn't really need it. And then you also have someone who does need it. And you're also bringing the dog into it, which is pretty cool because I have seen plenty of videos where, you know, people have a dog with some sort of medical condition where it's constantly shaking, or it's got, you know, anxieties of sorts, or it just jumps at any little sound, and they use these CBD products and they actually calm their animals. So it's pretty cool that you're bringing your end consumer a more real life experiment for them to see. And I
Yeah.
think this is going to be a great idea, especially if you have it on your site for people to follow along as well. It's going to
Yeah.
be, it's a great idea. I love the idea. I really do.
Actually, yeah, that's why I'm smiling because I was like, okay, are people gonna like this idea? And then you know, it's great, like, because you picked right up on exactly the concept of just like it's a more real experiment, kind of like seeing is believing in a way, you know, like if you can see something, it makes it a lot more impactful. Just kind of, that's what happened to me. That's where I got the idea, because I saw what happened to Elle when she took it, and that made me believe, you know? So
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
impact.
That's
So I'm
that's
really
I
glad you
I
picked
I
up on that.
really yeah, I really love that idea. I'm stoked to
Okay.
see where it goes and for you to put that up on the site, because it's such a genius idea to be able to give your end consumers, like you said, there's not a lot of research out there. So you're giving them something more authentic, something more real to watch and to look at, and they can follow with you day by day. And even when you finish the month off, you're going to have everything recorded for them to be able to see how it went, and what the side effects were, if any, and the actual progressions of how CBD affected you, whether positive or negative. Not that there's any negativity to it, um, but it's you can give your end consumer something to actually visually see, that they can follow. Hey, this was last year, this was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and who knows, maybe you do one a year, so that people can see that continued use doesn't, there's no harm to it, really.
Okay. So here's the scientist in me with the experiment. I also have a hypothesis of how it will go. So I think really the main effect I'm going to feel is just less, just some less aches and pains for maybe when I run, especially in like my ankles. I won't have any symptoms. Like, so I would take the CBD on a need basis as soon as I felt the pain, but I don't think the pain is even going to come up. And the biggest effect is the anxiety I have before I go to work in the morning is just going to be completely negating. I'm going to be able to have like just a more emotionalist decision, so I can think logically about what I'm going to be doing and make the right decisions in life. That's the main impact I think is going to happen.
Gotcha. So are you going to be recording videos, or are you just documenting through photo?
You know what? I wasn't sure yet. Let's do that right here. We could give them a little look under the hood, I guess. What do you think the advantages of doing it on video versus like taking a picture? I'll probably end up like mixing both and probably going with one towards the end.
I think it would be cool. And again, I'm not a professional here. This is just an opinion of someone who's
Yeah,
looking from
yeah.
the
I'm
outside.
just curious. Yeah.
Um, I think it would be really cool, since there's three. There's going to be yourself, who has really no necessity for it. You have Elle, who actually has a necessity for it, and then you have the dog as well. I'm not sure if
Mm-hmm.
it's yours or Elle's dog. I think it would be cool to have video of each. So for yourself, I noticed you've mentioned more about waking up with the mind constantly running and in a downward spiral. So I
Yeah.
think for you to grab your camera, waking up, and recording yourself how you're actually starting
The
your
picture
day.
of me just like, the day is coming. The day is
Waking up
coming.
groggy, just drool however you wake up. I think this is going to be the most raw aspect of you, recording what's on your mind as you wake up in the morning, and then how you feel throughout the day. So if you recorded maybe 2 3 videos throughout the day and just compiled it into one piece, and then I'll do the same, and you have the same for your dog, and you in some way put it together, whether it be just a quick, from a device. I use KinMaster to put everything together in one piece, and it's actually really easy. The
Master?
ease of use, yeah, the ease
Okay.
of use for this app is it's amazing. So I think if you did something visual like that, where you got a recording of yourself in the morning, you got a piece of her when she maybe starts to feel anxieties, or even if she starts to go through it, or in some way, for the sake of the
Hey, I know
experiment,
you're having a panic
you know,
attack over there. Can I take a picture?
something like
I
that.
know, no,
I
I'm just
mean,
kidding. I'm just messing around.
if
Yeah,
something
no,
like
I totally
that,
get it. I think
it's
that's a great
it's
idea.
it's really authentic, because it's not, it would be something for someone to say, let's say it's a video of you just saying, oh, so this morning I woke up and I felt kind of nervous about my day, but I took the tinctures, or the gummy, or whatever it may be, and I was calm throughout the day. So it's one thing for them to say it, for you to say it, and then hear it from you. But it's another thing if you just wake up and you're in a groggy state in some way, and you're just like,
Yeah.
man, I got so many things going through my mind right now. Like, this is what my mindset is going through. And you actually just express what's on your mind. I got so much to do today. I'm just swamped. I don't know how I'm going to go about the day. Let's see how today goes. Or if you take it the night before and you wake up in a better mindset, you can tell the people that, hey, so I took it last night. I'm waking up this morning, and I got to be honest. I don't feel the stresses that I felt yesterday, or I don't feel the anxieties of what I'm going to do about my day. So that's just on your aspect. And then on hers, she can do something where she starts to feel the anxiety and she takes it and then comes back in a couple minutes and see where she's at, or in, a half hour and see where she's at. Even if it's just pictures going about her day. And then it's the same thing for the dog. Any way that you plan on using the canine for this, you can, just document it in video. I think it would be a pretty cool aspect. And then for the
Okay.
end goal, to be able to put that on your website, I think is going to be such a great piece of valuable content for end consumers who plan on using CBDs, especially those who are still conscious of the whole, am I going to get addicted? What are the side effects? And, it's like you said, there's not a lot of information out there, and it's still
Well,
really new to society.
the reason I'm confident to say that that stuff's not going to happen is because think about it from the perspective of arguing from a burden of proof. I'm not putting up a claim like they're claiming all these different things that are just like, these are really bold claims. Like, you're going to get addicted. You're going to be like, it's not, that's, I mean, what is that founded on? There's not really a lot of basing in that thought. Yeah. So with CBD, you're not going to get an addiction to CBD. Like,
Yeah, definitely. And see, for myself, I mean, I feel confident in saying there's no addiction to it. But
yeah.
there's going to be quite a few out there who still have their hesitations. As a matter of fact, I messaged you yesterday about a coworker of mine, my supervisor. He mentioned that his mother needed it for joint pains, and she was given a piece of a gummy, and it actually gave her the side effects of being high. So I told him, I was explaining to him that there's, I'm assuming, variants of CBD products where you may still get the THC effect, and
What I
others
think
where
happened. He probably bought. Where'd they buy it from?
I couldn't say. It was just, he said it was given to him, which, I mean, it could have been anywhere.
Okay, I would think. Oh, so they didn't even have the package.
It wasn't packaged. No, it was just given to him, which
Well,
again could have just been a
well,
out.
um, how high did she get? I mean, like, what I was gonna say happened is probably they saw a thing in the store that says like CBD pills, but it's actually like a 1-to-1 ratio or like a 1-to-4 ratio of like like THC to CBD or something like that. So they see that they market it as CBD, but they do have some THC in it.
Yeah,
So that might have been what happened to where she got one of them products that has which wouldn't be really classified as CBD product. That'd be kind of like that's just a full on cannabis product at that point because it has more than the 0.03% THC in it.
yeah. See, that was my assumption right away too. I told him he more than likely got something that was about the 1-to-1, because he said she did feel the
Yeah.
the THC effects, and she was not happy with it. So now she's hesitant on other products. And I was
Yeah,
explaining
but
to him
yeah,
how you openly put out there that it's no THC in your CBD products, which is amazing because there's a lot of people who don't want that side effect. They just want the benefits of CBD to help them in their own ways.
and then that was also a tactical decision on my part before I brought the product too. So that's another thing I thought about before I went and spent money was um, a product without THC, zero THC in it, wouldn't have the chance of like a manufacturing defect to have an accidental dose of it in there, and then somebody just takes something they think is a CBD product and they get dosed. You know what I mean? With a
Yeah,
psychoactive effect of THC. So I thought that would prevent a lot of issues, and I don't see why you would need you don't really need the THC in the CBD product to get the effect, so long as you have all the other parts of the hemp plant incorporated into it. So
so,
that's why I went broad spectrum.
gotcha. So it was a good choice there. I really like that it's no zero THC, because like I said, there's huge benefit to CBD products if it can be used in a manner that isn't giving you the THC effect, and I think that's where the market is. I think you have a great product. You have a great business, and the concept of everything. I love the idea that you have for the experiment. It's like I said, I can't get over that. It's a great idea. So you got started in this business. You invested. How much would you say you have in your business now, and how long have you been running? Since November, you said, right? November, December. What's
Yeah,
going on?
that's when I started putting the first building blocks together, and then I really started hitting it hard, like beginning of April too. So
Oh,
like, so I guess you could say it's in the works for about 9 months or so. Just thinking back and forth the whole process. But a lot of planning went in, so the implementation part's only been going for a couple months now.
gotcha. So you're actually going full force, and so everything seems on the up and up. Everything seems sprightly of sorts. You're having, success and you're making sales and you got the Instagram running and you mentioned that you have a channel going as well on YouTube. Let's hear some
Yeah.
obstacles that, oh, not yet. You got to get that started. Definitely got to get that started. I would suggest just jumping into it and just start recording what you're going to record. Even if you did the experiment there, that would be a great spot because you can actually make the videos longer and have them on your site as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I think I forgot where I was going with this. You
Sorry.
so no, 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 it's okay, it's okay. So again, you got a lot of success. You have everything. You've been going full force for about 9 months now, and it seems like everything's good. Your site looks great. I personally liked it when I looked at it. Very professional, and it's very wise of you to actually follow concepts that other businesses are doing as well, because that's pretty much what you do. Is you take what's working and you run with it and you make it your own way. Um, what are some of the obstacles that you had to overcome when starting this business? I mean, I doubt you walked right into it and haven't had a problem or a hiccup since day one. Let's hear some of the stuff that maybe you struggled with in the beginning. Maybe
Oh, well, speaking of problems, I'm not sure if you guys can still see me. Hello, you guys
I
there?
see you now.
Well,
I
speaking
apologize.
speaking of problems we've had with the business, sometimes your internet goes out when you're in the middle of a video call or something like that.
You receive a call because you're doing
Yeah.
it from your device.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's what
Um,
happened? Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I apparently I got a call. So again, everything couldn't have been, or maybe wasn't straightforward. You had nothing but success. You had to have some obstacles that you may have faced. Maybe some people who didn't support you. Maybe some decisions you made that went against the grain of society. What are some of those obstacles that you went through?
Um, so growing up, my family, including we do not have very positive feelings about cannabis. Like, we grew up with the typical thought of like, losers take that. People do this, like, oh, all these medical benefits. Oh, it's just an excuse to get high and whatnot. And so I didn't grow up with very positive associations with it. So I knew the product worked. I knew it didn't get you high like I had previously thought it would after, actually experiencing it firsthand. But I was like, oh man, what are other people going to think of this? Like, I don't want to be thought of as one of those loser type of guys. Like, I'm pretty clean cut for the most part in my real life, like outside. Just, so I wasn't sure, like, what sort of judgment I would be getting from other people because, I don't feel like I'm in the cannabis business necessarily. I feel like I'm more just helping with like CBD, just more like trying to help people. I don't know, like so that's something that really held me back, especially from putting my face on camera and posting content and creating it. So I already had the fear of that anybody's going to have of going on camera and the fear of just putting yourself out there in the first place, and then you waste all this time. Maybe if it doesn't work, is like the biggest fear in the world. And then I had that on top of it, like afraid of this social stigma, like, oh, there's another entrepreneur, and look, he's a loser. Like, ooh, I'm gonna start a business type of guy, stereotype. So that was always working against me in my head, and that's something I really had to work against to get
Gotcha.
over it.
Okay. So financially, what kind of struggles would you say you've had investing in your business?
Um, Financially, I haven't had too much struggles with the business, like investing in it, because I already made those mistakes earlier in my life. That's what I was saying. It goes along with like this wouldn't be my only business. Okay, so like I can do something else. I don't have to be so committed to it. Like I can just not have too many expectations for it and just go about doing my process. And I didn't spend too much money like I did on the bounce house business because I already had made that mistake with the bounce house business. So I wanted to go about it doing it in a smarter way. And I started this business in a much better financial position because I had gotten a career position and I was making a little bit more money. So I could afford the about the $5,000 I put into product and the booth and initially setting up advertising is what my initial cost was. So I would say definitely make sure you are in a good financial position and that you have an emergency fund prepared in case things go wrong. Because you don't have to stake your whole life on a business. You can just do it and plan it out. And if you're really committed and you really want to do it, you're going to do it eventually. But you got to make a plan. Part of your business plan could be, okay, I need to get into a better financial position for this particular business, or I need to pick a cheaper product that's not going to give me as much of an upfront cost. So there's a million opportunities. So I'm saying you don't have to have money to start a business, but you pick a certain product or certain thing you're doing that's going to allow you to not have as much of a startup cost. I mean, you can get started a cheap business for under $500 if you really
Definitely.
want to. Or maybe if it's some sort of consulting business or just giving information on the internet, then that would be no cost because then your product is just you talking into the camera or, selling or monetizing it however you're going to monetize it. That's just my perspective. I don't know what you think of it. Again, like I'm not a veteran entrepreneur. I'm just up and coming trying to get my own thing started. So I'm not sure what your thoughts on that are.
No, it's the similar mindset. It's not always about the money. It's about what you do and how you do it. Something as simple as starting a YouTube channel and vlogging or interviewing up and coming entrepreneurs. I mean, there's ways to monetize, but there's little to no money invested. I think I spent I think it's something like 12 or $6 a month for KinMaster Pro to be able to remove the watermark and stuff like that. And I pretty much, or you can do the one-time charge for the year. That I to be honest with you, I slapped that on my T-Mobile bill so that it's something that I don't even feel because it's part of my T-Mobile bill now. So that wasn't money out of pocket. Aside from that, I had the Canon that I recorded the last video on that I already had for personal use, and that was for family photos when we vacation and do stuff like that. But even if I didn't have that, I would have recorded with my phone. And as a matter of fact, when I did that recording, I didn't have and I don't have a shotgun mic for my camera. So what I did was I took my phone and used a recording app, a voice recorder, and I recorded the audio version on my phone, and I have the video version on the camera. And so I had to piece those two together. And it's all part of, trying to do this with as minimal invested as possible. I think I spent another $8 on a mic because I record myself daily from my device on the way to work while I'm at work and then when I'm getting out. And I noticed the audio quality because I'm driving, you get the noise from the outside, the wind blowing, you got cars and stuff like that. So I grabbed the mic only because I felt like it would enhance the voice section of the audio and keep kind of the background to the minimum. But again, I'm trying to keep it as minimal as possible. So getting back to it, it's not always about having tons to invest in a business. It's about where you start and how you start. Like you said, you can always start some sort of ad agency where you have the consumer actually paying you up front so that you can use some of that money to produce the ads and then charging them on the back end for the overall cost of your services. And then you would just decide on what your services are. POD companies, you hear plenty of people who start print-on-demand companies where they open a Shopify store, they use a 7-day trial to go ahead and get their stuff started. They slap up some designs, they put a couple ads on Facebook or even just a simple picture on their regular page and the marketplaces and get someone to buy. After their first purchase, I think it's something like 2 days before Shopify releases the money, and boom, you got your first couple bucks. You made a shirt that's going to cost you about $12 to be made by Printful or whatever the print company you use. And in the end, you sell it for $22, which is a higher end price, but just kind of throwing for the sake of the argument here, or for the sake of example, you sell it for $20 to $22 and you're making, an $8, $9, $10 profit. And then you stack some of those, 2-3 sales. And now you got the money for the Shopify store, which is going to be $29 a month. If you want to buy the domain, it's another $14 for the year. And then from there, you're using a print on demand service. So all you're doing is having them collect the money from the end consumer, not from you directly. So you're getting that money in the middle. And again, it's all about what you do and how you do it. And little to no investment is a very real possibility nowadays, considering the computer age gives you everything at the touch of a
Mm.
button. You pretty much have your phone. As you said earlier, you watched a video of someone who started their own business from their mobile device. I mean,
Yeah,
if there's no other example of not having money invested, that's got to be the best one ever. Because if you can start a business from your mobile device, what is really stopping you from starting a business now? And it's all
that's
about what you put your mind to.
good. Exactly. Like, I mean, you don't even have to go that extreme. I mean, like you don't even have to make your whole like website and everything off your phone or anything. But yeah, I would definitely recommend minimal investment. Pretty much is really the way to go because I mean, the bulk of what the cost is, I find is like would be like for advertising would be like the most expensive part of a business. At least for like people coming from I guess like our perspective, I would think advertising would be the most expensive part and the most time consuming. And a lot of that can be done on Instagram or YouTube or whichever social media platform or your website on Google, getting it ranked in SEO, different things like that. So yeah, minimal equipment is what I would recommend.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the best way to go, to be able to start anything from scratch. I think because you get the more rugged side of it, the struggle, and I think in the end you come out stronger. So when you do decide you want to go full production equipment or you want to start printing from home, I mean, you have that experience of doing something from scratch. So when you have easier options, it just makes it that much more of a piece of cake. You start doing the work on your own, and you're not struggling because it was so easy to begin with. Um, yeah, definitely. Starting a business nowadays there's no struggle to it at all. It's a matter of just putting your mindset to it. Um,
Good.
so
Was that?
what if you could if you could look back at yourself from when you were 18, you're now and you're able to talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you have told him um, to maybe do better, or what advice would you have given him then? And then afterwards, we'll go into what advice you would give someone now if you were sitting in front of, let's say me, I'm telling you I want to start a business. So we'll go ahead and ask that afterwards. But what would you give your 18-year-old self advice on?
Um,
Considering your mistakes and your story, your situation, what advice would you have given yourself, given your mistakes?
um, I hate saying that. I don't know what else to say though. Like it just sounds so cliche. Like the biggest thing that I has always held me back. Like I feel like I would have done a lot more things already by now if I had just started working, getting over my fear of just working with things. Because I guess I always had a little bit of social anxiety. Like I never liked talking to the cashiers when I was 18. Like I couldn't even talk to a cashier without feeling anxious. So I did a good job overcoming that. And I would just say I just wish I would have done everything earlier because I think I did a solid job of taking some risks and at least just trying things even if they didn't work out. The only thing I would say is just to accelerate that process. Just hey, um, you're 24 now and your life is better than it was when you're 18. Just what you were doing was correct, but you got to do more of it, more and more. Like double down on it. Just double down on yourself and taking chances, and don't be afraid to make mistakes because no matter what point you are in life, it's just even if you have all the money in the world, there's still always going to be that existential crisis that comes with life, and that everybody's going to have different problems. It's just going to vary what type of problems they are based on their socioeconomic status or neurological conditions or anything or whatever it is. Just life's rough, so go ahead and make your mistakes early and often. That's what I would say to myself.
Beautiful. That's perfectly said. Early and often is a great piece of advice, because I think the quicker you have these failures and you learn from them, the better off you are in the long run. So if you had a brand new entrepreneur that you knew was trying to get started right now, they have this idea that they want to be a business person, they want to be an entrepreneur, and they want to get started. What advice would you give them to get them fired up and keep them motivated?
Get the hell out of here. No, just my, um, get ready, man. Make what do you want to do? Like, what do you genuinely want to do? Like, I know when I'm in the car listening to music, for the 30 minutes I'm driving in the car, I want to be Eric Clapton playing the guitar, and I want to be a rapper on stage. So find out what you really want to do. What would you actually like to do if you weren't getting paid for it? Because of course everybody's gonna like fame, which is what you're really Are you fantasizing about the fame and the money, which are really just positive externalities of living life on your own terms in a smart, responsible way? Like, what do you really want to do? Do you like chipping wood and making wood carvings, or do you want to design speakers or make software? Like, what's something that you think you could actually see yourself doing on a day-to-day basis after you have all the money and all the fame or whatever your fantasy is for the second? Find something, just being self-aware. What do you really want to do, and do you enjoy doing? Because getting started is a rough process, full of doubts and full of just not sure what's going to come next. So you better like what you're doing while you're doing it, because that takes one little knife out of your back that's going to be needling you. So just do something you want to genuinely do, not just what you imagine would be really cool if everybody looked at you as it.
Gotcha.
That's what.
Good piece of advice. Love your story. Love the success you're having right now. I do hope to follow up with you in a couple months, and that's that personal experiment that you want to do for the 30 days. I think it's such a great idea. I can't wait to see you get started on that. I am following your page, so I am excited to see the videos or pictures that you post. I will be following up, and I will be commenting regularly. Awesome. So know that you got at least one person watching who is holding you accountable to these videos, because it's going to be a great piece.
Wait, accountability? I don't want that. Unfollow, please. Dang. I was hoping to blow off the 30-day challenge. Okay, now I can do it. Damn.
Now you got to do it. You got at least one person watching, and I'm definitely going to be putting it out there. If it's okay with you, I'm going to be sharing this video on our page, on my page, and on the YouTube channel. Of course, I also do want to chop this up and use bits of interviews as content with your permission as well. I'm doing this on the camera so that people can see what it is for business to start up and how it actually works. And yeah, you're gonna have some accountability there. Keep it up, man. You're crushing it right now. You're doing amazing. And I do want to follow up with you in a couple months and see maybe where you're at. Okay. You got a great story, you have some great success, and you got a great business model. I love the more personal touch you're adding to it. It doesn't feel so much like a big business, a corporation. It feels more personal, and I like that. Yeah, it was a great interview today. I do thank you for your time, Cody. 24 years old. Owner and founder of Bella Body Soul.
There's the
great
shirt.
Company, great CBD company. I'm gonna have to get me one of those shirts, and you will see me repping it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely gonna keep up with you. And man, thank you for the interview today. I do thank you for your time. I know it's Sunday. We both could have been doing other things. We could have been spending time with family or watching football. But
I was supposed to eat tacos.
We'll see. Here we are. We're grinding away. We're still doing our work. You took time out of your day to give me this interview. I do appreciate it, man. I appreciate you and everything you're doing. You are an amazing person, and keep grinding, man. Keep humble. Stay humble. Keep grinding. And, you're an amazing guy. You got to keep it up, man. I'm so excited to see your successes. And, God, I can't wait to follow up and see where you're at.
Hey, thank you very much. It was great being on here, too. And then I would love to kind of go over how we could chop up some of those bits and pieces, and I could maybe even work with you on some of that just to kind of see. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, we're gonna stay in communication. It's something that I do want to do aside from, just having a quick interview. I would hate for it to be something where I interview someone and then just cut off all communications, and that's pretty much it. It's gonna be a lot of people to keep up with, but I prefer to have a personal connection of sorts with anybody that I'm interviewing because it makes it easier in the long run to be able to work back and forth. I would definitely share some of this with you, most of it with you, if not all of it, if that's what you wish. And this way, you
Yeah.
can use the same thing. You can put it out there and use your parts as content as well, because that's what we need as far as social media. Your business primarily looks like is it on Instagram? That's the home place for your business
Yeah.
right now.
That's where
Okay, so
that's where we started our efforts. And like you were saying about YouTube, that's where we're branching off. Really, that's where we're going to be going. I'm going to experiment a little bit on there because I want kind of like long form video content to inform consumers on how to select CBD and like what's good about CBD or legalities, whatever questions it is that would just kind of provide them value.
gotcha. So have you ever thought of maybe interviewing experts in the field as additional content for your YouTube page, something like this, where I interview entrepreneurs up and coming or successful as they are. Maybe interviewing some experts, maybe interviewing competitors if they're up for it. I mean, it's not easy to talk to a competitor and get the truth out of them, but maybe just going back
Yeah.
and forth, sharing information as far as the CBD products and their health benefits. Just some
Yeah.
ideas for you on the YouTube channel. Definitely hope you get that started soon because I think that's going to be a great addition to your business. And yeah, man, we're going to be sharing this, and I would love to keep an open communication with you, even if it's just through DMs on Instagram. Man, we can communicate back and forth and just kind of see how everything's going and hold each other accountable a little bit. And
Okay.
I am going to be sharing this video on all platforms, and hopefully we can get some eyes on your business, and we'll see where we go with everything, man.
Sounds like a plan. In fact, I'll probably put this up on YouTube. If you share it with me, then it'll be one of the first things I put up. And then I'll start. I got a couple of videos already, and I'll put them up on there. So thank you very much. And
Oh,
it was
thank
great
you.
being on here.
Thank you.
Check
Thank you.
out
And,
check
go
out
ahead.
Bella Body Soul CBD on Instagram. There we
There you
go.
go. The
Cool.
home of Bella Body Soul. Cody, 24 years old. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for taking time out
Thank
of
you
your
guys.
Sunday for this interview. And hope to talk to you soon.
All right. Later, guys.
Thanks a lot, brother.